welcome back. This is episode number 2 for All in a Day's Work. I'm Trip.
I'm Lucas.
There we go. We're back at it, everybody. We just want to kind of reintroduce ourselves. Both of us are veterans. We're doing this podcast there for you guys, the veteran community, and just, anybody in general. Today we have a list of topics that we're going to want to discuss. We'll throw some humor in there, but it might get a little serious too at the same time because these are some pretty serious topics we're going to talk about. So.
Absolutely. So again, just like Anthony said, list of topics we're going to be going over, a lot of current events, just our take on it. The whole goal of this is just to put our opinions out there, and hopefully we can start bringing people together, because at the end of the day, the last thing we want is to create more divisiveness and to sow discord. At the end of the day, we're all Americans, we're all humans, and we all deserve to be treated as such.
Amen. I heard that. Treated as such. It's pretty tough out there right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, we can just start from the top. We got the coronavirus still going on for 6 years when it was supposed to be cut down from 2 weeks. We got Trump proposing to push back the election here in November. Schools doesn't seem like they're ever going to open back up.
I mean, they're going to go online, so it's still some kind of school, right?
All right, America, listen here. That is not the same thing. You got 8, 9-year-old kids. They need to be around other kids. They need the social interaction. They need to be able to grow and to understand how to interact with other people.
Yeah, I agree with that. I got 2 kids myself, and my daughter texted me earlier today, and she said that she misses her friends. She wants to go back to school.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get out of school. But tell you what,
tell me about it. I was 100 miles an hour. Just couldn't wait to get back home. I hated school. That's why I joined the military.
Amen. That's why. But I don't know. It's different. We got sports coming back though.
I got my own opinions on that. Like, I personally think that sports is fine. Don't make it political. Don't make it political, right? You're paid to do a job.
It's about the sports. Entertainment.
Yes, but
just because they're pushing a message in the beginning doesn't necessarily make it bad. But we still get sports.
Understandable. Like I said, sports are good. They're there for entertainment, not to push any kind of agenda, right? You're not a public figure. You're an entertainer, right?
In the eyes of a public domain. So they are a public figure.
Entertainer, right? Entertainer.
Public figure who happen to push what's going on in their opinion and stand up for what they believe in and stand up for what's right. Which isn't a problem. I don't see it.
No. They're exercising their First Amendment rights, completely legal. They should voice their opinion. I'm not saying that they shouldn't voice their opinion. Absolutely not. I'm just saying that if you want to protest, there's a time and a place for that. If you're going to take time away from, 1, the national anthem, 2, the actual sport itself, then that's what you should be doing. You should be focusing on that, not on pushing your opinions.
The time is now. The time is now. We've been pushed back. Time is now.
Understandable. I personally believe that there's a right way and a wrong way to protest. Like I said at the beginning of this video, we're all Americans, right? We need to come together. When you start pushing opinions, especially in an entertainment field, you're causing more conflict between the two. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying don't exercise your First Amendment rights. I'm just saying there's a time and a place for everything. You want to. You as a entertainer, as a high profile individual, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with that, right? Okay. You have a huge platform, millions of people follow you. They're at your word. They pay attention to entertainers and sports athletes, especially, more so than they would actual public officials that hold public offices, right?
Because, I mean, for the most part, the public officials we have continuously, put out bullshit and.
Yeah.
It looks as if they really don't care about the common person. So when you have an influential person like LeBron who stands up and says something, that's going to have a deeper impact to the common person than whatever the Congress or Trump or anyone is going to say.
And I completely agree. And with that, I think that they should, like I said, hold a little bit more responsibility, not be so careless with their words, right? Like, for example, kneeling for the flag. That's a huge thing for me. I'm a veteran, deployed. Like, there are people that have given the ultimate sacrifice for that flag to give everybody the ability to stand up and voice their own opinion for their rights. All of them, right? So when you kneel for the flag, in my personal opinion, you're completely spitting in the face of all those people that laid down their life, right? And to me, like I said, in my opinion, there's a right way and a wrong way to protest. When you're protesting the flag, I personally think that that's a no-go. You're completely disrespecting all the veterans, all the people that came before you to give you that right.
Okay, so I'm also a veteran. I'm a black man here in America.
Mm-hmm.
2 combat tours, sacrificed a lot with my family and my own physical health.
Yeah. And thank you for that.
To this day, I still stand up for the flag.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean I'm diminishing the movement for those who are kneeling for the flag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I do not think that they are wrong for voicing their opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the way that they are gaining traction to make it noticeable. I don't know what the right answer is or how they should protest. It's easy for someone who's not doing that in a public figure, in that setting, to say, well, you know, you shouldn't kneel for the flag because you're spitting in America. That's what you said, right? So, in my opinion, what else can they really do? Because as soon as they start talking about it as a public figure, someone's got something to say. Well, LeBron shouldn't say this because he's impacting this many people who feel this way.
Well, as a public figure, you're going to get that regardless of what you do, right? No matter, you could say Jesus is good, and people are still going to knock it.
That's
right.
True. I mean,
right. So
this is the, I don't want to say problem, but this is what happens when you have freedom of speech. Everybody is able to voice their opinion,
and everybody should. Like, you should never stop somebody from voicing their opinion simply because you don't agree with it. Right. Like I said, they have every right to protest how they see fit. I just don't think it's acceptable to kneel for the flag.
Okay. So with that being said, or the national anthem, right?
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, are you not watching sports now?
No, I'm not. Honestly,
is that the only reason you're not watching sports? Is because there are a lot of players that are doing that, or teams in a whole that are doing that?
Yes. Like I said, sports are there for entertainment. I want to be entertained. I love basketball. Big basketball fan. I will not watch another game.
You know, sports are a big part of people's lives.
And I agree with that. And like I said, everybody can make their own decision on whether or not they want to watch sports or not. I'm choosing not to because I deployed for this country. I had the potential to lay down my life for this country, and I'm okay with that. So when you disrespect something that I could have paid the personal sacrifice to, it's a personal insult to me.
Okay.
Right. So I will not be watching sports.
So I just wanted to be clear. So you're an avid basketball fan, right?
Yeah,
was okay. If the players or teams found a different way to still protest the movement for which they find true, would you go back to watching sports?
I'd consider it. I really would. Like, okay, let's take this for example. So if all across the NBA said, hey, this is the national anthem, stand up for it. If you want to lock arms, wear the Black Lives Matter t-shirts, whatever you want to do outside of that, absolutely. You know, I'm okay with that. Kneeling for the flag, burning the flag is unacceptable to me.
Well, I agree with burning the flag. You should not be burning the flag. Some would argue that the kneeling of the national anthem or for the flag is just their way of protesting, but they're not disrespecting it. They're still giving honor to the flag, but they are just not standing up for it. This is their way of still trying to protest something at the same time as a whole. This is what America needs to see, because the flag represents the American value and America as a whole. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that the flag represents America as a whole, right? If they found another way to protest, I'm okay with that, right?
I mean, what would you do?
If I was in that position, I would kneel during warm-ups. I would come out before we start the game, like have the announcer be like, hey, this is in memory of all the police brutality victims. Across the board. Race doesn't matter, right? Across the board, and then have all the players kneel, right?
Okay.
Like I said, during the national anthem, all the symbols of America that made this country so great, they deserve reverence. Not as like an idol, right? But we deserve to give respect because only in this country are we allowed to do some of the things that we're doing, which makes this country so great.
It's also where you're allowed to kneel for the flag and not be illegal.
True. Like I said, if people want to kneel for the flag, it's their right to protest. They can protest it in any way they see fit. I don't agree with it.
So by you not agreeing with it, you are not watching sports.
Yes. Yes.
Is that all sports?
All sports across the board.
All sports across the board.
I only watch basketball and some football as it is, right? But I will not be watching sports until
there's a better way for them to protest. In your opinion.
In my opinion, right? And like I said, if they want to have some sort of recognition for the police brutality victims outside of kneeling for the flag, I'm okay with that. I personally, what I understand from the whole aspect of kneeling, it started out as police brutality, right? But then Colin Kaepernick, who started the whole thing, came out and said here in a tweet, actually on the 4th of July, that he was kneeling to protest America, right?
What do you think he meant by protest America? Were you talking about the racism that is here in America, or just the police brutality?
I think what he meant was America as a whole. I truly do.
You're talking about the same country that gave this guy multi-millions of dollars to play a sport in which he loved.
Yeah.
Now he is protesting and throw that all away. That's America. Or was it a symbol that he was protesting for the simple fact of police brutality, which then turned into racism in America?
I think it started out as police brutality, and then it turned into something completely different, in my opinion.
I mean, some would argue, or some would, even some of the viewers, I'm sure, would argue that your opinion is not only yours, right? Mm-hmm. There are plenty of people who feel the same way you do. But is that really worth taking away from the entire sport as a whole? Because as you said, sports are there for entertainment. So if you were to even block out that portion, would you go back to just watching the sport for entertainment? Because at that point, when the game starts, it's just about entertainment. It's no longer about the movement. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I completely understand. And
I watched the NBA game the other day, the Lakers against the Clippers, and I was happy that we finally have some sports back on. And and it may not be the same. You can definitely tell that they're a little rusty. Some of the passes. So I was like, hey, now, come on now, LeBron, you get it together now.
LeBron's a little overrated in my opinion.
Number one, that's right, LeBron all day. Anyways, but when I was sitting there, I was watching the game, and I was just like, all right. So in the beginning, they had their movement, and they said what they needed to say. But then when they went into sports, it was about the sports and playing the game, man. So and while they were playing, I wasn't thinking about the movement. I was just happy to watch sports.
Okay, understandable. Have you ever had an experience with a product or a type of food that you just completely did not like, and then it just changed your whole outlook on either that item or that food, so you just won't eat it anymore?
Absolutely. Scallops.
Exactly.
Can't stand them. They're disgusting.
That's kind of how this turned out for me. I felt it was highly disrespectful.
So it left a bad taste in your mouth.
Absolutely.
You're not willing to try it again.
Yeah. Maybe at least for the time being.
Even if it's cooked a little differently?
For the time being. It's no sports for me. Like I said, veteran was a big part of my life. Being in the military was a big part of my life for a long time. I love this country. I'm grateful to have been born in this country. Heaven knows if I was born in another country, I wouldn't be able to sit here and do this and have this conversation with you, right?
Absolutely.
I enjoy a ton of freedoms because I was born here, and I love this country to death.
Yeah, and I do too. Even with today's society, there being a huge division between, I'll say it, black and white people. Yeah. There's a division, and you can see it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You can see it. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It might not be all of what you're saying.
And that's the beautiful thing about this country. We're allowed to have those disagreements, right?
As long as you're taking in one person's opinion and not thinking of it as law.
Of course,
of pushing your opinion.
Again, it's an opinion for a reason, right? Everybody's allowed to have their own.
So, I mean, as a veteran, as a combat veteran, with players or teams subjecting themselves in a sense of protest, you feel that it's wrong?
I feel the way that they are protesting is wrong. Okay. I'm all for protesting, all for using your First Amendment right to voice your opinion. Everybody's opinion deserves to be heard.
I mean, there's a lot of people protesting right now about a lot of things.
True. But let's just be clear here. There's a difference between protesting and a lot of what's going on.
Okay,
right.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. We can get into that
at a later video.
That's going to get kind of deep, and I don't want to spend all of our time here diving into protest and everything because we would be naive to say it's not going on
or it's only one side or the other.
There's a lot of factors in what's going on here in America.
Yep.
So I would like to dive into that if you're willing.
Absolutely. It's just that's that's definitely for another video.
All right. So one thing that you brought about the beauty of being an American, I love this country as well. I've been to different countries, and I can tell you right now, I am proud to be an American.
Absolutely.
I may not be proud of the America that we have right now.
We're flawed, absolutely. We have our flaws, but the great thing about this country is if we all come together, hear each other, and then make moves to better the country instead of just trying to tear everything down.
Yeah.
Right? That's
the only way we can get better.
Not tearing the whole thing down.
I'm not saying tearing it down, listening to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta tear some of it down though.
Some things I do agree need to change.
Some things need to be burnt the fuck down.
Right, I don't think burnt down is the right word. I think changed. Okay. Right? Because when you say burnt down, in my mind, I'm thinking of what happened in Minneapolis.
Okay.
All right.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but what I want to get at is the premise of us being American citizens, two different races,
two very different experiences growing up.
Two different experiences.
Yep.
We're able to have these uncomfortable conversations. Yeah,
and these are the conversations that need to be had, and not just between us, between all our publicly held officials, all the Democrats, the Republicans, whatever you want to call yourself. If you're in an elected position, you need to sit down and have this conversation. But not only do you need to have this conversation, you need to be willing to listen to each side, right? Be able to willing to listen and come together.
Oh
right?
Boy, that's something the politics don't have right now. They're not listening. It's they
like,
just what he said, she said,
and then it's each side just doesn't want to budge, right?
Yeah.
And it's become to the point to where each side takes their own beliefs so personal that anything outside of that would just be heresy. Where it's just like almost like you're damaging their faith or whatever.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So you feel this way about this certain topic.
Yeah.
Which is against how I feel. So you're trying to tarnish what I feel.
Exactly, and that's not what's happening. These guys are elected officials. They're there to help the American people, right?
I mean, that's what they want us to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to think about it, do you really think that that's what's going on right now?
No. I think there's a lot of officials out there that are trying to push an agenda, push a certain way of life, change America and its core values to be something that it's not, right? And I think with that, I also think there's a lot of politicians out there that just want to be career politicians, right? They're just in it for the money and for the power that they can gain, and then to just do whatever they want to.
Right.
Like I'm not going to name names, but I think there's a lot of politicians out there that are just abusing the system, in my opinion.
Right now, it looks like our public officials and our politicians are pretty much have a hand in absolutely everything that we do.
Yeah, and that's a scary part.
That's not normal.
That's definitely very scary.
There was a time when you were able to pretty much just do whatever you wanted and say whatever, do whatever, go to work however you wanted to, and now it's not like that.
No,
I think a lot of that has to do with this pandemic we have going on. This pandemic has completely screwed us all over.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like I said earlier, I think a lot of politicians are just in it for the power and the money, And once power corrupts, man, I'm just gonna say it like that. Power corrupts. If you're in it long enough, it will corrupt you. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people.
Here's a thought with what's going on right now. Nobody can plan for a pandemic. It kind of just happens, right?
True.
So the politicians that might have been in it just for the power, now they actually have to work. They're trying to figure something out for us. So now they kind of look like jackasses.
Well, they really do.
They as if they hadn't before. They really do now.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
All they can say is put this mask on your face and socially distance.
Don't get me started on masks. From the bottom of my soul.
You don't like to wear a mask?
No. Nobody likes to wear a mask, man.
I know they got some pretty cool masks out there.
You work the same amount of hours I do. Nobody wants to wear a mask for 12, 16 hours a day.
You're absolutely right. I don't like it. I'm just saying they do got some pretty cool masks out there.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
You can't tell me
All right.
If I got you a Scorpion mask, Mortal Kombat Scorpion mask, you wouldn't wear it?
Maybe a noob.
Okay.
I'm a noob guy.
America, he likes noob Cyber for Mortal Kombat. So, hey, if you guys are listening out there,
can't beat me with noob.
We love Mortal Kombat. Scorpion is my dude. He likes noob. So if you guys find a noob Cybot mask or a Scorpion mask, we would love to see one. I can't find them anywhere. So if you could shout out, let us know where you find it because it looks like we're going to be wearing masks for the foreseeable future, forever.
Unfortunately.
As they say, the new normal.
Get out of here with that, man.
That's the term, man. That's what the kids are saying nowadays. New normal. That's on all the commercials. New normal. That's what they're saying.
America, new normal is bullshit. You heard it from me.
Well, damn, man. How you gonna just put that out there? That's your opinion.
It is my opinion, and everybody out there, you can take my opinion for what it is. It's my opinion.
Okay, so why wouldn't it be the new normal?
Because it's crap. First of all, I believe in the coronavirus, right? I think it's a real virus.
Is crap, and people still eat it.
Well, everybody's weird in some way.
Some people like pickles.
And they'll be knocking pickles, first of all.
Pickles are disgusting, and you know it.
Pickles are a full meal themselves.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so back to masks.
Yeah.
Right? Masks are crap. If you could smell a fart through your mask, you really think it's going to stop a virus from coming through?
Well, it's not to stop a virus from coming through. It's to stop you from spreading a virus for people who are asymptomatic. That's what they're saying.
All right.
I'm not a health expert, but that's what they're saying. They're pretty much saying that me, as a younger generation person, healthy, I could have the coronavirus without symptoms, and I don't know it. And I can still spread the virus. So that's what they're saying. I can spread the virus by me wearing a mask. I am not spreading the virus to any surfaces or people who are symptomatic or have a weakened immune system that could possibly get it.
Understandable. And as much as I don't want to wear a mask, I don't think that... I don't remember this. Alright, I understand not spreading the virus, right? But at the same time, we need to open up the economy, right? The economy is horrendous right there. I can't tell you how many jobs have been lost, how many businesses have been lost.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
the numbers are skyrocketing. They're record numbers right now. But how are we gonna go from economy to mask? Right now, we can start selling masks and boost the economy.
I mean, we could.
We to the economy, man. What's up?
So I think that we need to start going back into work. I think we need to start reopening the economy. Continue to wear a mask, but I think we need to start doing what some people call herd immunity, right? Have portions of the groups start going back to work. One, that way we can get it and get over with it. We can, once we start doing this, we can start I don't want to say isolating, but start taking special precautions for those that have pre-existing conditions, those that could potentially have
every single business I've been into, or even work environment, has taken precautions. There's hand sanitizer everywhere, screening stations, temperature screening stations, washing stations.
So let me ask you.
And you wear a mask. I don't see we go to work every day. We have to wear a mask. We have hand washing stations and hand sanitizer. And limited amounts of cleaning supplies are they're still scarce today. So I haven't gotten sick since or even since way before this has happened. And I've gotten my temperature checked and I haven't had any issues. Now why is it that we're not bringing people back to work? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah. So like we're taking all these precautions, but nobody's allowed to go back to work. Like for here where we're at, you gotta wear a mask everywhere you go, right? Regardless of whether you're in public or what whatever. I don't agree with that, right? Because let me put this to you. Like in our job specifically, we have to wear a mask everywhere we go. So if you're out in public, you mask on, all these precautions that be taking, gloves, all this stuff. But are you changing your gloves out between every interaction with somebody?
Well, I don't necessarily wear gloves.
Well, in all these businesses, right? So there's cross contamination everywhere. You go to a gas station, for example, a guy's got gloves on. You hand him your card. He probably hasn't changed those gloves out all day. Same pair of gloves he's been wearing all day because he doesn't want to spend more money on supplies, right? Because it might tank his business. Wearing the same gloves, he hands it after you done been touching everybody else's cards. They've been touching it without gloves on because it's their property. He hands it back to you. Now you got contamination on your hands. Guess what? First thing you do when you get in your car, you're gonna take that freaking mask off, right? Or you maybe got some sweat on your face. What are you gonna do? You're gonna wipe it off with your hands. You're not gonna hand sanitize before you touch your mask.
There are people out there that are doing that.
There are, and
health nuts.
Yeah, but the majority of people aren't doing that. In my personal opinion, the majority of people either have had it and don't know it, had it or gotten over it, or show no symptoms.
So if you were in charge, you'd have everybody go back to normal in doses.
In doses.
And those who are going to get infected.
Unfortunately, yeah. Because with the way they're pushing...
This thing is killing people, man.
And that's an unfortunate circumstance. I honestly, like, any life lost to a virus is one too many. Don't get me wrong, all right? I'm telling you that it's a horrible thing. But at the same time, in I think it was 2018 or 2019, over 100,000 people died from the flu, right? So they didn't do all this for the flu.
Okay. Well, as we are sitting right now with people still at home, quarantining, still social distancing and wearing masks, taking all the precautions, hospitals today are still overwhelmed. So what do you think is going to happen if we were to reopen in the doses that you're speaking of? Hospitals can't provide and give the proper treatment that they need right now.
Build more hospitals.
Okay.
Build more hospitals.
Okay, I see that, but you can't just build a hospital up out of nowhere.
China built a hospital in 6 days.
I wonder how that hospital's doing. This is China we're talking about. You see?
I'm not saying it's...
You see that sticker that says "Made in China" now?
I'm not saying that it's the best.
Have we checked up on China lately?
I
haven't either. I'm just saying. So
my point being, China built a hospital in 6 days. It might not have been up to specifications, but if they can build one, and even if it's crappy, if we get a group of construction workers going in one area to build a hospital, we could build one up to par in 3-4 months.
Okay, so let's say we build more hospitals. What about the necessary medical professionals that we need to staff those hospitals? You can't just pull medical professionals out of nowhere. Where are you going to get these guys?
Activate the National Guard to help out. Right, so now I'm not saying it's a perfect situation, but people need to get back to work. People want to get back to work. There was a study, I think it was done by the CDC, that said staying inside, isolating yourself without a mask on is almost worse for you than actually going outside.
Okay, so trying to build up an immunity,
exactly,
building up that tolerance to it. Okay, I can see that, but. So what you're saying is you want to open up the economy, build more hospitals, right? We don't have enough medical professionals as we have right now. So we have more hospitals. You said activate the National Guard to help out. Yeah, that doesn't bring back to the economy. You're not helping out the public people who are working. That's the National Guard working. So
I understand that. Like I said, it's not a perfect plan, right? I just feel like we need to start opening up the economy to get people back to work, get that herd immunity done, and then hopefully build up some sort of immunity so that it doesn't...
So a study has recently showed that the problem with herd immunity is going to reinfect people who had already had it, and it can be within a matter of days and weeks, and they get reinfected. And then, as most viruses are, you get the virus the second time, it strikes even harder. So then we end up backtracking where we were.
Okay, so what's your plan? Just shut down the
I don't have a plan. I'm not a medical expert.
Shut down the
I'm a salty
forever?
I'm a salty veteran. All right, I don't have
Like,
this is just my opinion. I don't have the right answer.
The flu comes around every year.
Yeah, so what are we gonna do this upcoming flu season? Now we still have Corona, and now we got flu season on top of that. What's next?
Like I said, unfortunately, and this is a horrible thing, people are gonna pass away. It's a fact of life. It comes around with every new virus that happens. It's an unfortunate circumstance, and I'm not condoning it, right?
Okay.
I would if I could do anything, it would be to save people from coronavirus. I really would.
Okay.
Like every life loss is a horrible thing.
Speaking of that, let's talk vaccine.
Okay. Oh God.
Companies are working adamantly on developing a vaccine to fight COVID.
All right.
Right? You've heard that.
Yeah.
It's all over the news,
Yep.
right? If they come up with a vaccine, are you going to get the vaccine?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to be forced into getting something.
Well, I didn't say forced.
Well,
I just said if they have a vaccine,
I'm not going to.
Would you be willing to get a vaccine?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
What if it's completely going to wipe out Corona?
Well, I'm not going to do it. I got no answer. I have no reason. I don't want to get vaccine.
As a public health crisis, right? Let's say they developed a vaccine and they were forcing people to get it, then you're not going to have a choice. The American government's going to simply say you need to have a vaccine.
And I'm going to say no.
But I think at some point they're going to develop a vaccine, right? I believe that they will develop a vaccine. I feel that at some point they're going to sit there and tell you, if you want to come back to work here or go to this school or do whatever, you are required to have a vaccine. They've already talked about it. Okay. Having that card or some kind of something to show that you have been vaccinated for said virus.
Okay. I don't know. I'll have to deal with it when I get there. I like I said, I have no reason. I don't know why I won't get it. Honestly, I just don't want to get it.
I think I want to wait until I see how the residual effects are going to be afterwards, because you know, with any new medicine, there's always side effects,
absolutely.
right?
Well, like,
hell,
okay.
I've been taking ranitidine or Zantac for the longest time, and now it's giving people cancer. So,
hydroxychloroquine. What's your take on that?
I don't know much. I don't know enough about it to have a decent opinion on it. I know they said they were trying it out in trial phases, and it was showing promise at one point, but now I don't think it is as much.
What about the doctor that I think it was Twitter censored? This doctor treated 350 people with it, with hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and something else, and they all got better.
But did they defeat the virus? Or did they just...
They censored the video before I could watch it.
Or did it just kind of slow their symptoms down?
I don't know.
See, we'll have to do some more research on that, because I don't know. I'd have to see that video or the studies, something behind that, because I'm not a medical expert. I couldn't tell you what they do to make a vaccine or how it works, what the trial phases are. I couldn't tell you. All I know is that with any new medicine, there tends to be problems, and I don't want to be the test phase for the problems.
That's definitely.
I'm feeling just fine right now, so I don't know if I really want to get into that.
My stance is, like, I feel fine. I don't feel like I need a vaccine. I haven't gotten sick. I don't feel sick at all. I feel fine. So
okay, so then have. What about the kids? The kids are going to be going back to school.
Yeah, and
they're going to want to be vaccinated. We already have the parents that don't want them to get their normal vaccines.
And last I heard, the chance of a kid getting the coronavirus is slim, like 0.something%.
Now they're talking about 8, 9, 5-year-old kids and up that are able to get it and transfer it just as well as adults are. And that's why the mask mandate is for 5 and above. You know what I mean? So I think in the beginning they were saying, yeah, it's really rare for a young kid to have it, but now they're showing that kids are able to get it just as much as anybody else and can spread it just as fast.
Okay.
So at some point we have to get a hold on this thing.
I agree. I completely agree. Like I said, what I would do, is probably why I'm not a public official, is I would start opening up the economy, because this has been 6 months now. How many people have lost their jobs? How many people's families have been permanently affected by this coronavirus? Right.
I mean, we're naive to say that they're just gonna have a vaccine by Christmas and everything's gonna be hunky dory. A good vaccine takes years to develop and test,
and then test it for it.
And as any disease is most likely going to mutate and become stronger or develop and turn into something worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shit's fucked up, man.
Yeah. Understatement, man.
Shit's fucked up. I live each day. I don't even know what to think anymore. You know, you can't really make plans. You can't travel. This is serious. This is a real deal. You mentioned the flu earlier. How it killed 100,000 people. Right?
Yeah, I think it was like 2018. I think.
The flu's been around for over 100 years.
There's still no cure for it.
There's not a cure for it, but there is some sense of vaccine that they can change the variation to try to help combat that.
Yeah.
So they have had time with a flu virus to try to develop some type of vaccine. Coronavirus or COVID-19 has been around this year.
I just feel like we need to get the economy going again, right? Because the longer everybody stays shut down, the longer jobs aren't becoming more available, the worse it's going to get. And not just for like the death rate, right? People are going to get tired of being stuck up in the house and want to go out and do stuff.
I think that's understood. People are already sick of being stuck in the house.
Exactly.
They're going bananas. They're starting to go bonkers. And I think that's part of why the riots did happen or still are happening are twice as bad, because they're just trying to get out of the house. They gotta do something. They're fed up. They're tired. There's no money coming in.
Yeah.
Food is getting scarce in some areas. You still can't get proper cleaning supplies like you once would. People are fed up. They're sick of this shit.
I agree.
I know people that are still waiting on their unemployment to this day from the beginning of this thing.
Yeah, I do too, man. And it's a shame. It is
a shame.
You know.
And then, what I think is also a shame, and I don't know how you're gonna feel, America, but those essential workers that are out there that have been working since the beginning. A clap and clapping for them and all that was nice, but these people need extra pay. They're out here every day dealing with people face to face, and they've not received not one bit of extra hazard pay or essential worker stimulus or whatever you wanna call it.
Like they're putting this big bill out for everybody that's been put out of work. They're making more money out of work than they would if they actually went back to work.
You know, it's funny you say that. I know a guy. This is probably gonna upset you. Okay.
Probably.
I know a guy that lives in a how do you say this, a shelter for such. Okay, still has a job. He's a good guy. He lives in a shelter. All right, and in the beginning of this coronavirus, the place where he was living said, "Hey, we're shutting down. We're quarantining everybody. No one's leaving for X amount of time." Okay. So he got the call, and he called his boss, and he told his boss that, "Hey, my place where I live is shutting down, so I either get to work and I don't have a place to live, or I can have a place to live and not work for the time being." So the employers, they decided to put him on a leave of absence during the time he was quarantined. So it was about 3 months he was quarantined in this facility. So in this facility, they were providing them 3 square meals a day from caterers and chefs and things like that. But while he was out of work, he was able to receive unemployment. Okay, because he's out of work. He's also entitled to that extra $600 a week on top of that. Okay, so for the amount of time that he was working normally, 40 hours as a full-time employee, he made more while he was on unemployment living in his facility than he did while working 40 hours. Now here's the kicker. Here's what's going to get you upset, because it kind of upset me when he told me this. After he came back to work and was back on full-time, he was still receiving that $600 every week.
Nah.
Because it wasn't, I guess, part of his unemployment. It was part of the stimulus package. So up until it expired, when it expired last week, the extra $600, he was still receiving that additional $600 every week, and still working. So yeah, people are making more money off of unemployment than some essential workers going there working every day.
So what's the incentive to go back to work?
Well, I think that's what the public officials are trying to figure out, because on one side you want people to have additional income for those that are not able to work, that are
Yep.
only receiving a couple $100 a week for unemployment. They're not able to pay their rent, not able to pay their bills, and they're not going to be able to just, all right, go back to work. Now all your bills are due. I mean, that's never going to work.
Yeah, I agree.
So, the people that really need it, I believe that they should get it, and they should get more than what they're getting. There's money there, but there is that sense of, well, now, why should I go back to work? You know what I mean? Why should I try if I'm just going to get this handout? And that's where I don't want us to become as a society.
I agree. Because
isn't that how pretty much socialism starts?
In my opinion, absolutely.
You have everybody getting the same amount of money, you know, doing the same thing. Everybody's entitled to this and that.
And in my opinion, this is why we need to open up the economy. Because I said it from the start, like, when the government starts handing out money for people to be out of work, that's when you start leaning on the government more and more, and then that's when the government's going to start paying everybody equally, and that's how socialism is going to get started. And I don't agree with that. I don't like socialism. Just look at Venezuela and all the crap that's going on over there, where the rich are drinking champagne and the poor are eating rats to survive. Right?
I mean, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, and it's a horrible situation, and I don't want this great country to turn into that. Right? That's one of the reasons why.
In some instances, we're there, buddy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I don't see us ever going back to normal, how it was. You mentioned you don't like the term the new normal,
I really don't.
but I think this is pretty much this is the beginning of a new normal. I don't think things are going to be able to go back to how it was. I honestly don't. We're too far. We've been held too far back in order to just flip a switch and just go back to normal.
I think it's going to take some time. I really do, but I don't think we're too far gone. I really don't, because anything worth having is never too late to fight for.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, that's a good way of putting it.
So this country, with all its flaws, is still one of the best places to live.
Absolutely.
Right? And to keep that, we need to fight. Right? And like I said before, I think we need to open the economy to get back. At least start going back into how it used to be, because this ain't cutting it, man. So
all right, so you said something about that's not the.
It's not cutting it, man.
It's not cutting it. I kind of want to shift focus a little bit towards what we're talking, because we can talk all day about COVID and the economy and everything. But something that's really important to me is mental health. And as a veteran myself, I battled through depression, PTSD, and I still continue to go through it. This podcast is actually one of the things that you and I have talked about to actually try to help with that. Help cope with that. Something to keep us busy.
Yep.
Because there's not really much else for us to do out there right now. I used to go to the gym after work, take out a lot of stress. You would go to Lil Dude. But
You're a hater.
the guns speak for themselves. Anyways.
You're closer to the camera.
Whatever you want to say, man.
Closer to the camera.
It's genetics. But anyways, I want to talk about mental health. How do you think, or what do you think about with quarantine going on and just everything going on? How do you think some of the veterans who battled through mental health crisis are doing?
It's not a good time not just for veterans, but for anybody having some mental issues. And I'm no psychiatrist or doctor or anything, but if you're suffering out there with loneliness, depression, or anything like that, I'm telling you right now, seek help. All right, you go to the doctor, talk to a friend, find someone out there that's going to talk to you and listen to you. All right, suicide is a horrible thing, and
this year has been rough, man. I've really lost 5 different people this year. One, still the death is unknown, and then some others to suicide, and they're all veterans. So really, like what he's saying, if you need help, get help. Everybody should have this number saved in their phone. The suicide hotline, veteran hotline, the VA, any type of number or service that you have, reach out for help because there are people there that care about you.
Absolutely.
To take your own life, it's never the answer because in the long run, you end up hurting more people. The residual effects are there.
And not even that, man. Like, everybody out there, you're here on this earth for a reason. You may not see it. You're there. People love you. People care about you. You're not alone in this fight. But just like my good friend Anthony here said, depression, it sucks. I've gone through it from an early age. He's gone through it. There's no shame in it, right? Everybody needs help. Everybody struggles from time to time, right? If you have nobody to talk to, leave a comment, send us a message, get in touch with us. We'll talk to you.
Definitely, yeah. It's funny. Sometimes you think of these podcasts, people don't like to reach back out and all that. But if you guys leave us a comment or something like that, we will. I promise you, we will reach back to you. Leave us a link in the descriptions down below. Hit us up on the Facebook page. We're gonna try Instagram or Twitter. I don't know anything about that. That's something our producer's gonna take care of because I don't really know how to do it. But definitely hit us up. We'll definitely reach back to you. But I did want to leave you guys, or not leave you guys, but give you guys the suicide hotline number if you don't have it. Okay, that's 1-800-273-8255. I'm gonna say that again. 1-800-273-8255. I've personally had to call this number myself. That's the national hotline. They do have a option just for veterans, so please reach out if you need help. They also, if you don't want to talk, they have a texting option. You can text a therapist, just someone to listen to you, because at the end of the day, your story matters.
Absolutely.
Your story matters. And even when you feel like it doesn't, especially for how jacked the world is right now, you matter. And just as much as I've had to use these resources and speak to therapists, there's no shame. And that's something I want to bring up.
Absolutely.
There's been a stigma for a long time with veterans, especially veterans, who are either while serving or after serving don't seek help because of the stigma that it makes you weak. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a horrible thing, right? Veterans veterans.
I know it's a tough subject.
Veterans can do some really nasty things overseas, for this country, and anybody that goes through that, it changes you, right? There's, like I said, there's no shame in it. I personally hate the stigma. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. People do it all the time when you have a physical injury. People do it all the time when they need help, like moving out or whatever. There's no shame in asking for mental help. That's in my opinion, a mental health issue is worse for you than a physical issue, right?
Mental health or mental issues can actually have a physical effect on your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
I disagree. While I was gonna, give you guys a little insight. While I was serving my first tour in Afghanistan, we did a 12-month tour. In the first 2 months, we've seen a lot of stuff that we normal people wouldn't see. And there was a lot of animosity between us, the leaders, and even battle buddies. Those who have your back. We call them our battle buddies. And I knew something was wrong with myself. And I didn't want to go see help. I really did. I felt like I was there to do a duty. My country had called upon me to serve overseas. I hated it while I was there. But looking back at it, there's something that I did that less than 5% of the American population can actually say that they did.
Yep.
Maybe even less than that, because less than 5% actually serve. Less than 0.5%, I should say, actually get to go overseas and fight. That's a small number for our U.S. population. But anyways, what I was getting at is I didn't want to go seek help. And I was going through rage and anger. I wasn't sleeping. And if it wasn't for some of my peers, my battle buddies, I most likely would have taken my own life. And that's something that I don't like to speak about and talk about, but it's something that has to be said. Because it took one person, actually, I want to say two people. One is a dear friend of mine. His name is Emilio Coleman. He lives in Texas. Started with him my first tour.
Shout out, buddy. Thank you.
And I was on a rage and a rant one day. We were walking to the PX. And as we were coming back, he just purchased a laptop, and I was just ranting, going off, engulfed in this rage. And there was this Polish guy walking by from the Polish army. And they wear these funny looking berets, and they have like this little doohickeys, little balls on the top. It looked real goofy.
Yeah.
So I'm walking by, and I'm just going on a rage, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, this don't fuck right here, And he kind of stopped me as we're walking, and he was like, hey man, you're not mad at him, you're not mad at me. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at that guy. I'm just mad in general. And you know what I think I was really mad about was the fact that I couldn't seek help because of how it would make me look or feel.
Yeah.
And I think that alone, engulfing you and then still having to continue to go through the shit, a lot of veterans will say like that, that hurts. Because there's help there. But you feel like if you seek it, that's going to make you weak, or that's going to make you less of a person. And it's actually the opposite.
It really is. It takes a really strong person to ask for help, especially something as serious as that. And like you said earlier, there's a stigma that a lot of people have about soldiers, especially deployed veterans, asking for help.
Why do you think that is, in your own personal opinion?
In my opinion, I personally think it comes from a lot of civilians that don't understand how such traumatic events can change you, right? And I'm not saying that all civilians are like that, right? I just think there's that stigma of, oh, this person deployed, he did this thing, or he's this kind of a person now, or he's gonna blow up on me, or we don't want that kind of aggression around us. We don't want that type of person in this kind of environment, or whatever the case may be.
And that that sucks too. And I think that's why people don't want to go seek help. Because they don't want that to be on their record to know, this guy has some kind of mental issue. Well, the reality is, a lot of people here in America have never and will never experience what we have to go through. Just from BCT, basic combat training, to pre-deployment training alone, and then deploying to a foreign country to fight in a war in which you may not know much about. A lot of people
or even agree with
get that opportunity, and then to have to understand the fact that you might not make it home. That alone is enough to mess with a man's mental.
Absolutely. There were days where I wake up, and especially the time that we spend doing QRF for EOD, which is Quick Reaction Force, we're like the backup guys in case something goes wrong for EOD, and there's a lot of times that I was just really fearful of what was going to happen, and I was 19 at the time when I deployed.
So you deployed at 19?
Yeah.
I did too.
I signed the contract at 17. I turned 18 in the military right before I deployed, and then I was 19 when I got back. Yeah.
12-month tour?
Oh yeah. I was one of the last ones to do 12 months.
Yeah, I did a 12 and a 9-month, and both to Afghanistan, RC South, Helmand, and Kandahar Province. And anybody that knows, back in 2010, 2011 timeframe, the Southern Province was pretty rough, along with the Eastern Province was really rough. The fighting was hot, and I was actually downrange my first tour when we got Bin Laden.
Yeah?
Yeah, things were wild downrange,
Yeah.
So bad that I forget the name of the general who was in charge of RC South, but traveling through Kandahar area, because we used to have to convoy through Kandahar city to get to where we were going from Helmand to Kandahar, CAF. we could only convoy at night because it was so dangerous to go through during the day.
Yeah.
And convoying through Kandahar City after Bin Laden had gotten killed was a nightmare.
I can only imagine.
There were riots in the streets that do not even come close, or with the riots that we go through right here in America right now, don't even come close to what I witnessed in Kandahar City. And that just goes to show you how good that we do have it. At least what we have going on here is somewhat controlled. It was mass chaos over there.
I believe it.
And to try to navigate through that in the dark
with those nods on, which don't really help.
It's nerve wracking.
No,
it's nerve wracking, and that's what a lot of people today don't understand. So, the mental health issues there, it just continues to build up and pile up. And as soldiers, you train to beat the adversity, overcome this problem, and continue pushing and fighting and go.
Push that stuff down. Mission comes first.
At some point, the mission has to be about you.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I completely agree. Like
that is what people don't understand.
I agree. It's mental health and just dealing with everything that comes from a deployment. It's definitely something to be taken seriously. It's not something to mock. It's not something to look down on. Right? These are people that are willing to pay the ultimate price, and some have for this country. Right? And in my personal opinion, veterans should be treated.
Hell, I'll say it. They should be getting and treated better than goddamn celebrities and football and basketball players.
I was gonna say they should be treated one with respect for what they had to go through and what they was willing to do for this country, and two, they should be given the medical attention that they require.
Oh,
right. When I first got back, when I first got out, or when I got out, the VA system was horrible.
It
right?
Still is. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gotten better.
It's gotten better, but the people dying waiting for care is not acceptable.
Man, I recently was going through my own crisis and had to wait 6 weeks for a virtual appointment.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, and it's completely
unacceptable. I'm not knocking the VA. I know they're trying, but 6 weeks for a virtual 45-minute appointment on the phone?
Yep. Like I said, it's horrendous. Like these are people that will do bad things to bad people, and it will mess with them. They deserve to get every medical attention that they require, and at a time frame that is acceptable. Right? You shouldn't have to wait 6 weeks for a virtual appointment. Right? You shouldn't have to wait 6 weeks for a regular appointment. All right.
I mean, I understand medical staff are pretty much strapped right now, but
understandable.
Mental health crisis is just as important as the coronavirus. I agree with today. It's just as important. There are Vietnam veterans that are still waiting for their medical records. They're still waiting for their service-related injuries to be added to their percentages today. My grandfather is one of them. He finally. This is years later, decades later, got his percentage up to where he needs to and is able to get his
and how old is he?
79. 79. With a myriad of health issues, and COVID doesn't make it better. Yeah. And you can't really go into the VA for your normal scheduled checkups right now. So it's just, that's why I mentioned earlier, we're screwed right now. But there has to be some sense of hope. But what I was getting at is with the mental health issue, I don't know why. Maybe it's the media or the movies that have portrayed veterans' mental health issues as a bad thing, or that we're all fucked up in the head, we all have PTSD, and we're just gonna fucking blow up and snap, right? Which in my experience, I haven't witnessed that. I work around a lot of veterans. You work around a lot of veterans, and we might have our moments, but I've never seen anything to where I was actually worried, because other veterans are there and we understand.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
In my experience, there's no better help for veterans than being around other veterans. Somebody that understands something that you've gone through, something I've gone through in a similar fashion.
And that always happens when you have people that go through similar situations. That's why the brotherhood, when people deploy, is so strong when they get back, because everybody went through the same thing. We all understand what everybody's going through. Right.
I mean, you and I have a really strong brotherhood. I call you my brother all the time, and we've known each other 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, I call you my brother, and since the day I met you, we've been, really close. You know, like family.
Yeah, family.
And I think a lot of that has to do with just the brotherhood for the military, and that we kind of have experienced some of the same situations and bounce it back off of one another.
And then just for clarification, we wasn't in the military together. I didn't meet him until we started working together outside of the military.
Absolutely.
And yeah, man, it's like-minded people with similar situations always seem to bond together, and it's hard to find that outside of the military. Even if you work together for years, it's hard to find that kind of relationship.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to make a comment about it. The biggest issue I have today, being out of the service, I've been out 2 years now, medically retired staff sergeant, and one of the biggest issues I see today is being able to connect with civilian people in a fashion or in a way that veterans or service members have connected with one another. It's not there. It's not the same. It doesn't even compare.
It definitely doesn't. It is very, I don't want to say uncommon, but it's not as, uncommon for veterans to have that kind of a relationship with non-veterans. It happens, but it's just, veterans just bond better together.
I remember a time while I was in, and I couldn't wait to get out. My original plan was, I'm going to do my 4 years, get the fuck out, never going back to Afghanistan. And guess what? Within that 4 years, I went back to Afghanistan. And I re-enlisted.
And great like that.
It's amazing. Life happens, you have kids and all that, and things kind of change. But I was originally planning to do my 4 years, get out and go to school, go to ASU, young kid, got a little bit of money in my pocket, and that didn't happen.
Go to school, get a good education.
Yeah, it happened. And I'm actually glad I stayed in as long as I did. If it was up to me, I'd still be serving to this day, but Uncle Sam has better ideas for me, I guess. I don't know what that plan is. Still working on it, but it's not my plan.
Facts. There's a plan somewhere, man. For everybody out there, it is my personal opinion that you're here on this earth for a reason, right? There's a plan out there for you, whether you believe in a higher power or not. There's a plan out there for you. You have everything that you require to be successful. You just got to refine those certain things to help you to achieve whatever it is that you're supposed to achieve.
And never be afraid to ask for help.
Never be afraid to ask for help, but everybody stumbles, everybody falls.
It's about how you get back up.
Exactly. And it's the true test of a man, to when you get hit, when you think you've lost it all, to stand back up and continue pushing forward.
That's right. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for some of the people who actually reached out and helped me.
Absolutely.
So if this video reaches you and helps you in any way, let us know. We'd be happy to give you some correspondence and feedback. We're gonna leave some links in the description below for some of the services and links for mental health, the number again. But please reach out to us. If there's anything that you guys want to talk about in the future, hey, we got some dad jokes too, by the way. We're going to throw some dad jokes in there.
This guy.
Can I say I'm a dad? But we're going to, we don't want this to always be a serious, all the time type podcast. We do want this to be funny, but we also want to be able to reach and touch some of the people that actually need this the most.
Absolutely.
Like I said, that was the big plan for this podcast.
And just a caveat off of that, like you said.
All right, Sergeant Major. If you served, you know what I mean.
Shut
Son
up.
of a bitch. Oh, just a caveat off of that. You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch won't never shut the hell up.
Like you. Anyway, like my partner over here was saying, reach out to us if you want to talk. If you got something that you want to share, we want to hear your stories. Right? Nobody's forgotten. Right? Everybody's out there. We're all family.
Absolutely. And hey, reach out. Maybe we can have you guys come on here on the podcast. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Have a special guest day and have them come out and talk and
Absolutely.
kind of share their story.
Yeah,
You know, I've talked a little bit about mine, but we can actually go into details about some of the stories, some of the training and experience that we've gone through, if that's something you guys want to see.
Absolutely.
I mean, nothing's off the table here.
Yeah.
All in a day's work is for you.
Absolutely.
It's for you.
Love you guys, and
Stay safe.
Well,
Stay safe, America.
hopefully we can hear from you.
Real quick, I do have a shout out I want to put out to Warlord Beard Oil Company. So, this is another veteran-owned company out of Mobile, Alabama. Warlord Beard Oil. They make all types of different beard oils, shampoos, and all this stuff. Great company. But anything that you purchase from them, a proceed goes to St. Jude's and other veteran programs, and it really helps out. So look up Warlord Beard Oil Company. We're going to put their link in the description. We have cards. Send us your address. I'll send you a card of theirs and get some of their product. They're great products, and it keeps the beard looking really nice and soft, and ladies love the smell. So reach out to Warlord Beard Oil Company. They're great company. Great company. And then last, I want to say, if you like beer, Men's Room Original Red. Also, right here, brewed in the Puget Sound. The proceeds go to the Fisher House and the VA here. So not only would you be helping me, you'll be helping Men's Room, say another radio station here in the local area. But all the the proceeds go to a great cause. And what better way to give to an organization or a cause than drinking beer, right? I mean, I like beer.
I don't drink beer, so
I'm just saying, if I can give money to an organization to run a marathon and do the same thing as helping that company, I could just drink a beer, purchase that, and the money goes to the organization. I don't know. I'm just saying.
To each their own. If you want to drink, that's on you. I choose not to.
I'm just saying, I'd rather drink a beer than run 26 point whatever miles.
Well, you're high if you think anybody enjoys running 26 miles.
I don't know. There's some run heads out there, so I don't know. Warlord, they're not a paid sponsor. We just want to reach out to them because they're a great company. I've actually talked to some of their people there that work there. Great company. We don't get anything in return from them. We just want to support another veteran-owned company.
And they are a veteran first and first responder. They do give discounts to those.
Yes, they do.
Those
yeah, if you reach out to them, they'll even email you, and you'll be able to provide some documents. They'll give you a pretty good discount for being a veteran or a first responder for some of their products. So, again, look them up, Warlord Beard Oil Company. Until next time, America, stay safe. We love you.
Stay safe.